Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom. Nathan Drinkard, I'm Jay Wise. Thanks for spending some of your time with us. As a reminder to all our listeners, we're shows hosted on the Anchor app, but we're also on all the big podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, just to name a few. And if you prefer the video format of the show, we're also up on the A Drink of Wisdom YouTube channel. As always, like, listen, share, subscribe. We'd appreciate all of it. What's up, Drink?
You know what it is, man. Another Wednesday, another day, another dollar. We here to go ahead and give the folks what they need, give them that sports fix. You know what it is. Hey, we see what they don't and say what they want. And you know what time it is. Let's talk some sports, baby. Let's roll, baby.
Yeah, let's go. In episode 40, the 76ers defeat the Warriors, Pelicans pummel the Lakers, and we look ahead to the NBA trade deadline. But we begin with the NCAA tournament, where the first weekend is in the books. The Cinderella story of Oral Roberts is still alive after the Golden Eagles knocked off the seventh-seeded Florida Gators. Two other double-digit seeds remain in Oregon State and Syracuse, while the first number one seed to be eliminated was Illinois as they succumbed to Loyola Chicago. Okay, Drink and all, pretty exciting opening weekend. What are your thoughts on the second round of the Big Dance?
Well, you know what time it is. We got to talk about a conference in particular because if you remember, when we was having this show on Saturday, I was trying to get an ACC a hard time. When actual reality, I should have been giving the Big Ten a hard time because ain't no way your league get 9 teams in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams in, and here come 2 rounds later in the Sweet 16, and you only got one. That's one. I think people need to understand this. The Big Ten got 1 team left out of 9. The SEC got 2 teams left. Pac-12 got what, four or five? 1, 2, 3.
That's four,
So,
right?
yeah, 4. So, you think about this. You got the same amount of teams as like whatever division Oral Roberts come from. So that's listen. That was the first thing that stuck out to me. The second thing was, like I said, I brought up the Pac-12. I gotta put some respect on the Pac-12. You dig? Because like we was talking about before the show, they dropped one team, so they came in with I think six. I think it was 6 teams, and they still got 5 alive, or they came in with 5 and they still got 4 alive. So that's impressive, right? So I want to give it that. But I think you said this. Said something about this in the lead-ins. We got 15 seed Oral Roberts left. We got 12th seed Oregon State left, right? We got 11 seed Syracuse left, 11 seed UCLA, which UCLA was in the first 4 games, I might add. Go ahead and put some respect on that. And then that's it for the double-digit team. So it seems as if this the advantage I had gave before this tournament was the fact that these guys don't have to worry about traveling this year. Everything is in Indianapolis. COVID bubble. I'm not against the bubble. I feel like bubbles is the best way to calm down the COVID numbers and give the maximal, protection, or the maximal, control over everything. That's why the maximum control over everything. So I'm not mad at the bubble, but what I do think the bubble does is it takes away like the natural. It's kind of like what they were saying about the NBA playoffs. It take away some of the natural like problems you would get with travel, with crowds, with weather, this, that, and the other. It's so much that go into it. You kind of you kind of alleviate from all that. The reason I bring that up is because if for the fans that's not paying attention, these teams like Oral Roberts, Loyola Chicago, teams like that, these lower schools, if it was any other year, this is the year that they really got a chance to go against the big dogs because it's really no difference other than the uniform and the name. Maybe the crowd size, maybe popularity, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, both teams are playing on a pretty quiet court with limited fans. Both teams don't have to travel as far. both teams get the same minute. It's not the big dog versus the little dog this year, and I like that. So now you have to look at teams like Oral Roberts and Laona Chicago, and you got to give them where credit is due once the Sweet 16. But overall, games didn't really stand out to me. I know you mentioned something about Kansas. I'm not gonna steal your thunder because that was a fantastic point. But games overall didn't stick out as much for me. It was about the lower seeds continue to play good ball and balling up these higher seeds. And it was Michigan, not Michigan, the Big Ten conference. What are we doing here? Michigan got to drag the whole conference by the collar. What we doing, Big Ten? Seemed a little bit overrated. And then, I want to give a good, shout out, salute to the Pac-12 because, listen, in the football season, y'all about as irrelevant as a blank newspaper. But basketball season, salute to you. Hey, I see what y'all doing over there on the West Coast. Holla at your boy. So those was like the takeaways I took, for the time I was able to catch up with the action because, it's so much going on. So, yeah, those are my 3 takeaways, man.
Yeah, I left out UCLA as a double-digit seed. So, yeah, four double-digit seeds in the Sweet 16. Of course, but besides Oral Roberts, like those other 3 are at least they're Power 5 guys. I think the only other non-Power 5 team we have left is Loyola Chicago. But let me start there. As they impressed me in the first round game against Georgia Tech, but you got to put just a little bit of an asterisk because Georgia Tech was missing the ACC Player of the Year, Moses Wright. Illinois was locked and loaded, number 1 seed, pretty deservedly so. Got a real talented front court, and Loyola Chicago. When you talk about like a team, it don't get no better than those guys. They don't, as individuals, they don't look all that imposing. They don't. It seemed like on paper, Illinois looked like they got them. I don't think Loyola Chicago is going to be sending, having guys picked up in the draft. Not that I'm aware of. Illinois got some guys going to play pro, but then nevertheless, Loyola Chicago comes in. They beat them by 13. They beat them convincingly. So that's
some
impressive.
Good defense.
Yep, that's right. Their best player is this Cameron Krutwig fella with the mustache and everything, putting up 19 and 12. You got to be impressed with him. And then you can't go without mentioning the old lady in the stands praying and everything, lifting them up on high.
What her name? Sister Jean, right?
Sister Jean, yeah. Sister Jean up there with. Sprinkling the little Tim Tebow for you, bringing all of it to the party. So we got to look at that and take that in consideration. The other thing, and there's no doubt about it, the Big Ten in the first weekend is pretty disappointing. I think when you get 9 teams into the big dance and you can only get 1 through the first weekend, that's disappointing, especially since you had 4 of the top 8 seeds, period, and the only one left is Michigan. I thought obviously Ohio State, the way they went out, that was pretty shocking. But Iowa, Oregon just blitzed them. They dropped 56 points in the first half, and Luka Garza was in there. I think he dropped 20 in the first half, but just wasn't nearly enough. Iowa looked outclassed. Right. I didn't see this coming from the Pac-12. And then, meanwhile, you had some of these guys, Rutgers and Maryland. I don't even know if I didn't really expect them to get out of the first round. But you're, Illinois, Wisconsin, can't expect so much from them because they was going up against Baylor. There's one more that wait a minute. No, that's all of them. I was thinking there was one more top seed. But, yeah, just overall the Big Ten was a little bit disappointing. The ACC, at least as we said, they got to it. 5 teams lost in the first round, at least Florida State and Syracuse. They kept things moving. That Syracuse zone just continuing to give teams problems, including West Virginia, which is a really good program with a really good coach. The Big 12, the Big 12 was okay. They got, I mean, Texas let them down. You know, a 3-14. That's tough. And then, you know, I think if West Virginia and Texas was still in it, the Big 12 by far would probably have. You could probably look at them as like the big winners so far. But then, what you mentioned, what Kansas? I didn't even notice until today when I was looking up, because I got to admit, Virginia didn't ruin this tournament for me, because the way they want to flop around in the first round to Ohio, not Ohio State, the Ohio Bobcats. That was lovely. That was lovely. But Kansas come out there and they lose by 34 to a Pac-12 school. The Pac-12 is the big winners. We can't. Well, I mean, we can still joke, but I mean, you got to take them a little bit more serious, because this is impressive. Southern Cal, UCLA, right. Oregon, and Oregon State. That's what it's come to. Pac-12's impressed, and this is a big deal. We won't see this in football, but they here in the tournament. They in Indianapolis. They ready to play.
Right.
I still think, you know, as we move forward, you know, the way Gonzaga looked, they took Oklahoma apart, another good Big 12 program. I think at this point Gonzaga looks like the team to beat. But Baylor looks really good. Alabama was really good against Maryland. And Michigan, I thought they would struggle a little bit with Isaiah Livers. It didn't come back to, you know, bite them in the first two games they played, but they'll be tested in the Sweet 16. That's a really good Florida State team. But overall, I do agree with you. I think the big surprise or the big takeaway is just how, you know, ordinary the Big Ten was, considering, you know, most people keep telling me how great they are.